My first breakup devastated me, and I only really have myself to blame because I fell into the seriously common trap that so many men fall into and always end up heartbroken. So I now work incredibly hard to help my clients avoid falling into this exact same trap and enabling them to have healthy relationships and avoid that same heartbreak. So now I want to share that with you as well. So let's go back to 2019, where I was 2 years deep into a relationship with a girl and I was all loved up, lovey-dovey. We'd met and it was in my final year at university. I was surrounded by friends, having the time of my life. And then after university, we moved in together and things were still great. We were having such a good time. But as the months started to pass, I could feel myself becoming more and more dependent on her, that she was my main source of social life, connection, and just any kind of validation. It was all coming from her. And it's tough. Anyone that's left university understands what it's like. Your friends scatter around the country, or even in my case, around the globe. And what this did was just lead from one step to another up until I was just completely dependent on her. I didn't really have a social life. And because of this, we broke up and I was left heartbroken. Like, I was just absolutely torn up because I felt like there was no one around me. I was there on my own, suffering through this. And I only really had myself to blame because we know this. We know that it is dangerous to end up just so isolated with no friends. And I fell into this trap. And I see it also in another way with clients that come to me that have this desire to get a relationship. But then I speak to them about their social world and I say like, oh, okay, so what do you do? And they're just like, well, I don't really have too many friends. I kind of play video games and I do this stuff, and it's like, it's never really going to work. It's not actually an optional piece for men to have friends, because when they try and get in relationships before they have friends, it always struggles. A girl will see that as an immediate red flag. I even remember for myself, there was a time I'd moved freshly to Bulgaria, and like the one friend I had here was away for a month, and because of that, I didn't really have any friends in the city. I was feeling really lonely and isolated. I ended up approaching a girl at the gym. We got on pretty well, and like I was like, cool, okay, well, I'll just get a girlfriend or I'll date this girl instead. But I went on the date and I could tell it just didn't go that well. And it was all rooted in the fact that I was just quite needy. I knew that I was almost needing this interaction to go well because I was lonely. I wanted her companionship so much that it put her off. And I see this with clients as well, who are really struggling with dating, but they're never considering the fact that they don't have any other relationships and connection in their life. There's just 3 really key fundamental reasons why, if you always avoid having those social connections, she'll break your heart. You will come out of that relationship, you'll be broken, you'll go on the dates like I did and end up brokenhearted. And it's because, as I mentioned, it's really easy just to end up needy, because this person, like, especially if you're someone like me who was definitely a nice guy growing up and just really loved the idea of having a girlfriend, he'll over-index in it. This will become the main part of his life. And he'll just let the friends fall away, but then that just becomes unattractive because you can't do anything. You start to get upset when she decides to go out and do other things. I think, honestly, this is so tragic, but I think I got upset because that girlfriend went to watch the first Joker film without me with a friend. And it's just like, reflecting back on that, seriously, man up, dude, go watch it with one of your friends. Oh yeah, didn't have any. That is the real problem. You end up becoming so dependent on them and so needy. It's just dangerous, and it leaves you so vulnerable and so exposed to that experience I went through of being brokenhearted. It also strips away any kind of polarity in the relationship, the masculine and feminine dynamic. Because if the two of you exclusively spend time together, realistically, one of 2 things is going to happen. Either you're going to start wanting to try and drag her into the male domain, and then suddenly she's coming with you to watch football games. something that I started doing a bit as well, and play video games with you and a bunch of this stuff, or you start to then fall into her domain, and then you're just having constant movie nights watching Twilight, and you lose that polarity that comes from the guy going out and doing stuff with his guy friends and her having an opportunity to do things with her feminine friends. We lose that, and the relationship loses attraction. That's why it will crumble it. And then thirdly, you miss out on that safety net that when you have a breakup, normally a guy, if he set up his life from just a holistic manner where he's set himself up correctly and healthily, breakups hurt, and you'll come out of that really cut up. But the heartbreak you'll suffer when you realize that you gave up all of your friends, all of your social structure for this relationship, and now that's left, and she's gone off and you're truly on your own. That's an unparalleled type of heartbreak. And as I said at the beginning, I only had myself to blame. So I never made that mistake. I was able to prioritize my social relationships. And you know what? Women respect you for it. They find you more attractive because you are a guy that puts effort and maintains his network. Part of a man's attractiveness genuinely is just his network of friends. There's a reason why guys that just happen to hang about with Leonardo DiCaprio do pretty well, because part of your value as a guy is intrinsically linked to the people you hang around with. You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you're in that position where you're either in a relationship and you can tell you're letting your friends go, or you're a single dude wondering why it's just not quite happening for you, it's not quite coming together of being able to meet the girl, I guarantee you it's this area. It's this idea that if you can find friends, then you'll become a different person. You'll become more free. You'll become more confident because you won't feel as lonely. You won't feel as desperate and as needy. So if that's you and you're wanting to find more friends, well, I actually did a video on this ages ago, so it's kind of strange. It's a different style from what you'll see here, but I'm sure you can get used to it. But it's a really good video, one that I'm super proud of, and it teaches you the friendship formula I made to be able to go from that guy that had 0 friends to the one that has like 100 close friends from all over the globe, able to walk into new cities and meet a bunch of people. So if you need to find some new friends to connect with, check out this video here. I guarantee it will change all of your look in dating and avoid getting heartbroken.